Too many I can say that got me low. Even when I go astray, I'm still your son. Even on the cloudy
See, I came from the bottom where niggas don't make it out it. Why I seen niggas fall like cold leaves in the autumn. Would you
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, of course, this is a very special show. This is a very special show because of the significance of the topic. Those who have been following the Donald Trump election interference case in Georgia know that there was a new development in the case that may put a wrench in the prosecution's case moving forward. We know now that there was a motion filed by one of the co-defendants in the Trump election interference case by Michael Roman, by his attorney, Ashley Merchant. And in that motion, there was some very disturbing claims made. Now, the hearing has yet to be set by the judge, but my guess it will be within the next couple of days. Once the prosecutor responds, she also, Fani Wills, released a statement through her office saying that she will respond to the motion through the process of filing. She's not going to make a public statement. It will be done through the process of filing through the court. At some point, the judge in the case, Judge Scott McAfee, will convene a hearing. And for those who don't know, I am one of the reporters in the courtroom who was also shooting the case. There have been many images of coverage, but particularly the ones that I've shot of Fani, as well as her special prosecutor, Mr. Wade, Mr. Nathan Wade. But I want to bring in my guest tonight. Well, my co-hosts. They're co-hosts. One, I don't know if one of them wants to call herself a co-host or a guest because she's always on the show. She might as well be a co-host, but she's in New York, so I don't know. I don't know if that still qualifies as a co-host because, it's New Yorkers. Oh, wait a minute, I'm a New Yorker. But seriously speaking, I want to bring her up, but I also want to bring my road dog, my honcho, my other half in this media space, and that's Crystal Jordan. Crystal, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? We are
good
into this new week, and things are already just. I mean, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Did you expect to see that filing come through the pipeline?
I did not.
127 pages, Crystal.
127 pages. I couldn't even download it to my phone. I had to download it to my computer to go through it. Most importantly, I was just surprised. There's a lot in there. I know we're going to get to it that is shocking. That if it's true, it's shocking.
And the question is if it's true. If it's true. This is an entanglement that I did not see coming, and we don't know if it's even true. Like you said, we don't know. But a lot of people are running with it. They're studying the photos.
We don't know if all of it's true, or some of it's true, or none of it's true. We don't know the degree. There's a few points as far as appointment of special prosecutor and the travel. There's a lot of different points, and so there's a lot of different things to explore.
I'm listening. I'm sorry. Someone sent me a text. I have the co-host who's sending a text. But we have someone in the in the background. We need to bring her up because she's going to bring that legal analysis that she does so well, being a former prostitute and a college professor. So she's not a stranger to court proceedings by no stretch of the imagination. And she did have an opportunity to look at the case as well. So I want to bring her up because she's been also following the case, and that is the attorney Akeisha L. Shabazz. Good evening, Akeisha L. Shabazz. Come on up here.
You gotta bring me up, man. What's going on, family? How you doing, Crystal? How are you, beautiful?
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. What's going on? I see my people in the chat like put me on. What's going on, Dennis? What's up, Mikey fam? What's going on, D?
No shout outs right now. We want to shout this.
I got to shout out to my people.
We'll save the shout outs until.
Don't start. We got to shout out to folks. If it ain't for the folks.
Hey, Ma, how you doing, Ma?
We wouldn't be here.
Facts.
Right, that's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
D the diva from the Bronx. What's going on? Okay, so we shouting out Rick. I see you, Rick. Rick, put the ones up, Rick. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, while you're here, before we really get into some things, I want you to hit that notification, hit that bell, hit those likes, run those likes up. Let's go. So, Ike.
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to glance at this 127-page?
No.
Well,
because I told you,
able to open it.
I couldn't open it. But I have done my own research based on reports of the allegations. There you go. Pull it up.
But we don't get into. We don't bring it up there just yet. You want to bring it up?
Yeah, that's fine. Without having read the entirety of the document, I did read some excerpts here and there that were posted in various news articles and the like. I have a gist of what the allegations are. My problem is that they are just that, allegations and nothing more. And there aren't any exhibits in this motion. There's no proof. There's no evidence. There's no documentation. Things that would easily have been able to be attached to the motion to substantiate some of these claims. Why wasn't that done? Now, I saw some of the invoices from this individual, Nathan Wade. I think
I have those as well.
Highly problematic. So we can talk about a little bit of that and the important implication of some of the billing, right? Because before he was hired, I believe there is some billing based on conferences that he had at the White House. Now, if you recall,
I think we haven't really explained to the people in the chat what exactly is going on.
Okay, so
I'm getting feedback. We're both getting feedback.
Oh, you're both getting feedback?
Yeah.
Hold on, and Rick can hear it too.
How about now? Is that better?
It's not. Oh,
is that better? It should be better now.
Okay, how's that? Yeah, that's better.
What did you do? You had two windows open?
I have a big TV over here and everything going on over here.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I can hear echo on your end. So
see how he tried to Jedi mind trick you, Crystal? Because I told him the same thing, and he was like, "No, you good. I'm like, "Yeah."
But Dennis, I always know when I call him, I'm like, Dennis, how many devices are recording right now? How many devices are on? But I think we need to explain, because I love where you're going, Akeisha. I think we need to explain to the people that are just joining what exactly is, if they haven't, been on social media today and seen the headlines. There are a lot of people you probably weren't on social media earlier today because there was a lot of weather issues across the Southeast that a lot of people may have been affected by. So, Dennis, can you kind of explain what this filing is and what this means? I'm wondering if because it includes Fani Willis, this is obviously for the case with Donald Trump, but could it also spill over into the Rico case that we're watching with YSL as well?
Well, well, let's just say this. Based on the filing by attorney Ashley Merchant, who represents Michael Roman, she believes, based on what they allegedly had discovered, that there may have been some improprieties occurring with the special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, who was appointed by District Attorney Fani Willis, and the processes that were in place, they're claiming that wasn't followed. Additionally, he was paid over $650,000 since 2022, which is a very sizable amount for a special prosecutor, when the district attorney herself is only, I won't say only, because that means be making $190,000 a year, but his qualifications as well is in question. And one of the things that I learned during my investigation is that you have to go through the commission to get him qualified, and for the county to see if they're getting the bang for their buck. Because they have people that are actually in the district attorney's office that are even more qualified to lead a Rico investigation, like the individual that I don't have his name in front of me, but he's one of the architects of the state Rico case, and he's also a part of this case as well, but he's not taking lead. So these are some of the questions people are going to ask. Why is this special prosecutor spearheading this prosecution of former President Donald Trump?
And
Did that help?
he has. I guess I'll bring the juicy pieces of it. Allegedly, this special prosecutor, with that large salary, has been taking vacations.
Allegedly.
I said allegedly, to the Caribbean and such, with Fani Willis. There's also allegations that the two of them have a personal relationship as he is in the throes of a divorce proceeding. So that is all a part of this filing in all those pages. We don't know if any of this is true, but this definitely, it's kind of like a wag. To me, it's a wag the dog. It's something to distract. But if there is any truth in that, it's very shocking, because that's something that is that would definitely affect this case and potentially others.
Okay, we have one of our legal trolls in the building. Well, she's not literally in the building; she's in the comment section. Legal troll, I say. That's Pam. Pam, what's going on, Pam?
Pam, what's going on?
I tell her come on the page and troll her, but that's another story. So, Ike.
Yes.
You talked a minute ago about the receipts. And before we go, we're going to read the document. But the receipts, you said that's a little concerning. Can you talk about why you think it's concerning? Because I saw some things too that I had to run a yellow marker through.
Well, anytime you file a motion, you want to put whatever type of evidence that supports your motion. You want to submit that to the court, because obviously you're asking the court to decide this motion in your favor. So you want to submit evidence to support whatever the allegations are. I find it troubling that there aren't extensive exhibits in a 127-page motion that would support any of the allegations that are made here. I mean, if he purchased tickets, well, that's a paper trail. There's a paper trail for that. Right? Why don't we have evidence of that? Before this was filed, did they try to subpoena documents? Did they do a freedom of information? I mean, I don't know what they did leading up to this motion, or maybe they thought that filing the motion would have the reverse effect, that they would get the things that they were seeking before filing the motion, right? In response to this. But I have an issue with the fact that they didn't attach any exhibits, and it makes me think that maybe there aren't any, right? And so let me just finish. What the lawsuit might be trying to do is suggest impropriety, and in the legal field, the suggestion or the appearance of impropriety is sometimes worse than any actual impropriety, right? And so that could be the case. we always have to consider the source, right? And these are the people who try to undermine the election. They try to submit a different slate of electors. They committed or allegedly or are alleged to have committed fraud. Do we really want to give them the credibility without it being earned? Because I'm not willing to just accept this complaint on its face as true without any supporting documentation. Now, I will say that the billing is problematic. I saw the invoices. Just so you guys know, if you haven't seen the invoices, apparently this particular attorney charges $250 an hour, and the invoices aren't broken down in any particularity. It basically just says 8-hour meeting with the date and the time, and then 8 times $250 and what that amounts to, right? So it's just a series of those. But there's also a meeting for like 24 hours. How you charge the state or the county of Fulton for 24 hours of, like, you didn't sleep that day? Dude, like, that's crazy.
And this
is
insane. This is on behalf of the special prosecutor.
Right. Yes, this is Nathan Wade's billing to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office that he claims he's doing on behalf of this investigation. The problem with which Fani might find herself in, if these allegations are true, this could be honest services fraud.
What about the fact that there was is there proof that there was not a commission that put him in place?
So I'm not familiar with the protocol. Dennis says that there's supposed to be, right, a commission to put him in place, but I don't know, because if that's the case, Dennis, how come no one up until this point has said anything about how he came to be appointed?
And I reached out to one of the commissioners today. I'm waiting for a call back, but I too had that question. So how do you get this far with they had to approve the amount that she paid them? Well, I think they got $31 million for Fulton County to reduce the backlog.
Oh, okay.
The backlog in the court system, and some of that money was obviously used to pay the special prosecutor. But what I thought what should have happened that they would have to get special monies just to cover, because he's a special prosecutor. He's a special prosecutor. Do they?
Yeah, I'm not really clear on that. What I can say is, however he was appointed, that's not necessarily the issue, right? So long as he's doing his job and it's on the up and up. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, if he is in a personal romantic relationship with this person, honest services fraud says that Fani Willis is the DA. She has a fiduciary responsibility to the county first, right? To make sure that the county gets all of the services it needs, right? Based on whatever the budget is and things of that nature. So if you rerouted funds, right, and you paid this individual, and as a result of you hiring him, he then benefits you back, right? We call those kickbacks or bribery schemes.
Yeah.
You've gone to the Caribbean and you getting flued out, Fani. Yeah, that's honest services fraud, because that money now you have broken your fiduciary responsibility to the county, right? And the people who were supposed to be and deserving of those services now can't have them because of your alleged kickback scheme or bribery scheme or trip to the Caribbean scheme, or I'm just going to fund my boo scheme, whatever the case, however you want to call it. Mm-hmm.
This judge would really, really not like this attorney making these overtures in that filing if they don't have receipts, because
you have to. I mean, everything is about proof, right? This is court. We base our every decision on empirical evidence, right? We want evidence of a thing. You cannot just say this happened, and you don't have proof of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
There's a burden of proof. Even in emotion, sometimes it's the burden of production. The burden of production says that you have to produce something before I'm required to even respond to it.
You're not just going to smear this woman's name or the special prosecutor without receipts. That would be the worst thing she could do.
You know what? I'm troubled also by the fact that Fani didn't come out and make a statement and say that this is all categorically untrue, categorically deny it, and then supplement it and say, we will further address it in court papers. The fact that you didn't deny anything, got my spidey senses tingling like, yeah, you know?
I agree. I felt that was strange to me because, first of all, from a spectator's position, Fani has been very vocal up until now. She's not to back away or to run scared, and specifically with this case with President Trump, she's been extremely vocal. So I expected to turn on the news later this afternoon and to hear her addressing it unapologetically, like she has. You know, everything that has come up. So when I heard that she was not going to address it, but she was going to file, I was like, oh, that's a problem. Yeah. I also I'm not sure. I don't know, because I don't have my expertise is not on the legal side. But is it an issue if there was a personal relationship between herself and Mr. Wade? Is that frowned upon? Is there
so not necessarily in every answer when it comes to the law is it depends, right? So the rules of ethics say that you an attorney should not be involved in a personal relationship with the client, personal sexual relationship, unless you already were in a personal sexual relationship with that person before they became a client, right? And so it is frowned upon because you could compromise your ethics. And again, the appearance of impropriety, right? So it may not have been on its face unethical to hire him. But when you look at, you are benefiting from it, that's where it becomes a problem. If you are benefiting from your appointment, that's a problem. And I cannot imagine that Fani Willis doesn't know this, right? I can't imagine that. But let me also say this. Remember, what's the old girl's name from Baltimore? Mosley. Remember her?
Yes, of course.
She got convicted.
I know.
Of what was it? Tax fraud, something. She got convicted of something. I don't remember. It had to do with financial was it I think she got some of the money, the COVID money, the COVID money. The PPP loan money. Right. And you would think that having been the top prosecutor in this jurisdiction, you would know that. So and I'm saying that because I have to temper myself, because I thought that about her, Mosley. Like, there's no way. Like, come on, she's the prosecutor. Of course, she knows better than that. So I want to say that about Fani, but then again, life teaches me differently. I don't know. What's up, Christelle?
We are talking about a former president that's now facing a Rico case, so nothing surprises me. And let me also say that the day after he filed for his divorce, he becomes a special prosecutor in Fulton County. He was in Cobb County. His divorce is in Cobb County. But the day after he files his divorce, he's now a special prosecutor in this case. Man.
Yeah, the timing is a little sus. Obviously we could construct the narrative that the timing is the reward for you going through with the divorce that you've been promising me you was gonna get. But y'all know I'm making this up.
No.
This is hypothetical and alleged. What I'm saying is how it looks. It looks like
you're pulling your pencil through those dots. It just
thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm just saying. It looks like it was a reward for him finally pulling the trigger on filing those divorce papers, and here's in honor of us now being able to be together.
This is the
Get on over here now.
And just in case you got to pay alimony and all that, here's this job.
Oh my God!
With this extra money that we could take vacations on. I'm sorry, y'all know I was gonna act up eventually.
I mean, but it's hard not to. Like I said, it's an outline that is there because of this alleged evidence, and I'm just trying to figure out what is frowned upon, what can affect this case, and what is just distraction.
Right. So I think what the motion argues is that the entire process would be compromised if the allegations are true. Because remember, the allegations are not just that they had a romantic relationship. They want you to extrapolate from these pleadings that the meetings that took place, I guess, November-ish at the White House show
11-5.
Hold on. They show that Fani, because remember she had been saying that this prosecution had been independent of the White House,
right?
Right. There've been no communication between her office and the White House. This is not a political hack job, right? Mm-hmm. All of those things. Well, why is your special prosecutor meeting at the White House then before these charges were filed? Why is he meeting for 8 hours?
Yeah.
What y'all talking about? What y'all talking about? Right, for 8 hours. And so
that's a problem.
It is a problem. It at the very least, again, it raises this appearance of impropriety. And that's all the Trumpers need.
That's all they want. Yeah.
That's all they need, because they already think this is all politically motivated. And so for them to just get a little incentive, a little nugget is enough for them to just run all the way, home with it.
I racked my brains trying to think, well, why would the special prosecutor go to D.C. to talk to the Democratic president and or his cabinet members? For what reason? What could they have offered? Was there any holdovers from Trump's? What was there? This is just doesn't feel.
Did he meet with Jack Smith? Mm-hmm. Did he meet with Jack Smith, who was the special prosecutor for the federal cases? For the federal
Jack Smith he's with the Department of Justice. He met at the White House. That's different.
That doesn't mean they could not have met at the White House, right?
Ooh.
A meeting at the White House doesn't say who was at the meeting.
We need to see those logbooks. Those logbooks that
see what I'm saying?
Trump didn't want
right? Paper trail. There's a paper trail. So there's a visitor's log at the White House. The people just can't come and go there, right? So let's see who was at the White House with homeboy in November 2023 or whatever it was, right? Let's just pull those logs. Why didn't you do that before you filed this motion, Michael Roman? And attach something. Give me something. I mean, 127 pages, and there's nothing there.
There was another filing, and I'm going to pull that up. It was another, I think it's an addendum. I'm going to pull that up. It was done today. Let's just see if that's it. We're going to check. We'll get back to that. But it was two filings on the 8th. Ashley has to know, because she's very seasoned. I actually posted a video of a case that I covered that she represented the defendant in 10 years ago. She's a great attorney, so she had to know that motion had to have some meat.
The problem I have with that analysis is that it seems to me that when even good lawyers get around Donald Trump, they make catastrophically bad decisions. We've seen that with a number of people.
Oh, right? Man.
So I can't accept that.
Right, that's true. That you can't. You got a former U.S. attorney, former mayor making.
Right. Look how many co-defendants are lawyers in this case.
Oh my goodness.
What's interesting is earlier this year, when we, before the indictment against former President Trump was had been filed, Trump accused Fani of having a relationship with a gang member that was a part of the YSL trial.
Oh my God. I did not hear that one, Crystal. I'm done. I had enough.
No, do you remember that, Dennis?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He tweeted it.
Oh my God.
Well, he put it on True Social.
He tweeted it. Well, no, he put it on Twitter, and this was his quote.
Well, not Twitter, because he didn't have his Twitter bag. It was True Social.
Well, he posted it on his platform, social. And it made it to. I saw it on Twitter, but he.
Oh yeah, we gonna take that.
His quote was, "I probably have another indictment. They say there's a young woman, a racist, a young racist in Atlanta, and I say that they were after a certain gang, which he's referencing YSL, and she ended up having an affair with the head of the gang or a gang member." Now, this was in August. This was in August, and there were little rumblings about that, but it's just interesting that was, his team put that out
right
in August, and now we have, this this with a lot more meat to it in January.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting though, because again, they had no proof then, right? They made the allegation and then it fell to the wayside.
They had no proof, but I heard it on social, and then I heard it from some other people that are, not on social. So I think there were rumors.
Was there? Did you hear there was any validity to it? That's what I'm curious.
This was from people that are not necessarily, let's just say, below ground. That there was ability to it, but I
can't verify that at all.
No, you
can't. Disclaimer.
I know nothing. My name is Wes, and I'm not part of that mess. I don't know nothing.
I'm just a publicist speaking.
I went to Bennett, and I ain't in it.
Right.
From other people that did not have political motives, is what I'm saying. That it was hearsay. Okay. That don't have political motives.
Okay.
So
I'm like, oh, listen, I'm in Fulton County. I ain't messing with.
This is a mess. This is a pure mess.
It seems like that team will go to any effort to try to. This has been an angle that they feel like they could be successful with, because it's almost the same thing, except a lot closer to home, with it being her special prosecutor.
I'm cautious when it comes to things like this, because as you all know, and I say this all the time, when it comes to the legal profession, only 5% of the legal profession are Black people, right? African Americans. Only 2% are women, right? And so Fani is a unicorn. Okay, for especially for women like myself who are in this profession, and it's very scary to see, because the misogynoir, right? It's so easy for people to say that Black women are being inappropriate because either we're not smart enough, Claudine Gay, or because we're over sexualized.
Yes.
Right. So I'm that makes me mad. That makes me angry, because it takes away the substance of what we can bring to the table.
And she's been doing an amazing job. And this is unfortunate.
Right.
If there's smoke and no fire, then that is just proof to what you just said, of how we are consistently having to fight these things. But the sad part about this is, like the woman you just mentioned earlier that was in Baltimore, when these things do happen, two things can be true. And that doesn't take away from the fact that we are objectified consistently. We are over-sexualized. We are considered, we are used as pawns, often against our own community. When one of us comes out, there's so much, but when it is proven, or when allegations are proven to be true, it's almost like cast a dark shadow. And I think that's unfair. because, there's so few of us, like you said, that she's a unicorn. So if there is, 10% of faults in her 90% of amazing, then that will be what's used to tell that story. So I am believing that these things are not true. Yes. But I also am not stupid enough to think that when another side has it against you, all of us, everybody has dirt someplace, around them. Now, you would hope it wouldn't be that close, right? You would hope it would not be that obvious. But when another team has financially determined to take you down, unfortunately, these things can happen. I think it can happen with anyone in that type of position. If you break everything down and examine it, there's always, something that people can use to try to sully your character. But, it's unfortunate that it's so few opportunities that we have. And then when we do, often,
Crystal, you said she does an amazing job. How are you grading her report card, and what are you looking for to determine she's doing an amazing job?
Well,
convictions.
I will say this. I'm speaking about how she has handled herself thus far with these two very public cases that she's been assigned to. I love the fact that a lot of times, as a Black woman specifically, when you are unapologetic, when you are, when you do speak with confidence, you're labeled with, aggressive, unprofessional, all these things. And I love the fact that she has not allowed that to make her back down. Especially, I think with the Trump case, that's one thing. I think there are a lot of people that are supporting her in that. But I heard, with the case against YSL, there were so many people that were speaking negatively about the fact that there's a Black woman trying to bring a Black man down. And I believe that she's been professional in how she's handled it, but she's been very, very committed to doing her job and not being affected by that. And I won't name names, but we've seen other people that have not been that way, right? So
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say, I think Young Thug was over. He was that case was overcharged. Just listening to this last witness on the stand, and until I see some strong evidence, I see nothing yet that has supported Young Thug being a part of this Rico case, and that's what I'm looking for. We're so far in, I have not seen that yet, and I don't want to make light of the fact that we, as people of color, have seen many young Black men being overcharged.
Absolutely.
And,
let me just weigh in on that, Dennis, because I think that's part of why when we have verdicts that come down, we don't expect, a lot of people are disappointed. And I know you're saying you haven't seen it, but it has been presented. Whether you choose to credit the testimony is another thing. Because at the end of the day, jurors may credit the testimony where he said, I pled guilty. He pointed out every person in that courtroom, and he said they was members of YSL. And that all of his crimes he had done in furtherance of the groups and the gangs, notoriety, power, control, et cetera, et cetera. If they believe that, hold on. If the jury believes that, they can find him guilty.
Okay. And on cross-examination, Attorney Brian Still was also very convincing in his cross to show the jurors that this young man, Stevens, was doing crimes that was against what Thug stood for. And he said this in his testimony. Did you want to carry his bags? Did you want to do some of the record label stuff? No, I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And he tried to tell you not to, be involved in crime. Yes, that's important because it shows that this guy, the things he did was independent of what Young Thug wanted him to do. And we don't know what these other alleged.
Here's the problem, Dennis.
Yes. This is my opinion.
I got you. On cross-examination, the beauty of cross-examination and why they called it the crucible of cross-examination is that you are allowed to ask leading questions. A leading question is a question that suggests its own answer. Why is Steele not using that tool? That is our holy grail on cross-examination, the ability to ask leading questions. He says to this witness, so tell me what crimes Jeffrey has committed in furtherance of the gang. And I'm sitting here, I want to strangle him. Like, why would you ask him that? Right? Because you're giving him an opportunity to give you an answer.
Right.
Like, oh, well, you know what? When I was selling drugs, he was selling drugs or whatever. You don't do that. What you do is you say, Jeffrey didn't commit any crimes in furtherance of this, right? And you get him to be a bobblehead doll. You're right. That's correct. Right? And none of the things that you did was in furtherance of anything Jeffrey was doing, right? Right. And in fact, he was trying to get you to do the right thing, right? And in fact, he told you not to sell drugs no more, right? You didn't see that. You did not see that. Cross-examination. You absolutely did not see that.
I seen that in cross-examination.
What you saw was objection by Miss Love, and sustained. Every one of them was sustained. Every objection was sustained, and it was because he was not asking his questions in a leading fashion. He wasn't. And you know what? You got to understand that Judge Glanville is very pro-prosecution. The same questions that he overruled objections on the defense of Miss Love, he sustained for the defense the exact same questions, right? And all he had to do was change the way. And he was saying, I'll object to the form. And then what does Steele do? Ask another open-ended question. That's not your job, dude.
Now, you saw that judge even assisting the prosecution and helping.
Yes, that's why I'm saying you can't.
What are you
listen to me. You can't allow a judge to tie your hands. If you ask the appropriate questions, you'll get the answer you want. He said, what crimes have Jeffrey committed? The guy said, I don't know. He could have said, Jeffrey hasn't committed any crimes in furtherance of the gang, right? He would have said, no, he hasn't. That's the answer you wanted. That's the answer you needed. But you didn't get a no. You got a I don't know. And remember, the judge is going to tell that jury that the evidence consists of the question and the answer. So I don't know what evidentiary value you think I don't know has.
I have a question.
And I love you.
I got a question for both of you because you guys are Dennis, I know, was there in the court, and obviously, Akeisha, you know what was happening there. Daryl asked, was gonna held without bail for 9 months for no reason but the fact that he was guilty by association.
It appears that to be the case for me, and I'm something else. I don't want to leave this topic here, Ike. What I saw when Brian was cross-examining Stevens, it did appear that Stevens really didn't understand what he signed. He's not a smart guy. It did appear, based on Brian's cross-examination, he probably didn't really understand it, but he had some things that weighed heavily against the why he decided to sign that. One, the $50,000 he paid his attorney, he only got $25,000 back, and he was sitting in Rice Street where people were getting murdered, stabbed, and all kind of crazy stuff. And it was basically they were playing the bullpen therapy to keep the guy in, weigh him down, treat the whole Guantanamo Bay treatment. Of course, this guy was trying to get the heck up out of there. So, I mean, you saw that on the cross, and I don't know how some of the jurors.
You want to know how that plays out? Okay, how that plays out like this. So this person who was sitting in jail who got squeezed,
yes,
took a plea just to get out, right?
Yes.
Because at that point, you're like, you know what? I'll say what I need to say. You gonna let me out? I'm gonna say what I need to write. So he takes a plea to get out. If I'm the lawyer on the other side of that, I'm gonna ask. So when you took a plea, you was lying, right? So you're saying that you admitted your guilt to something you didn't do. So you was lying then. So how we know you not lying now?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's how that goes. That's how that cross-examination goes. Okay.
Well, this is going to be redirect anyway, so we see how the redirect goes. But let's see how, we didn't have court today because one of the lawyers, attorney D,
right,
D Williams, she had a medical, but tomorrow should resume, and we'll see how he does. I'm sure he's reading I don't know if he's reading the comments. He wasn't told not to read the comments.
I hope someone, or maybe he'll go back, because I do that, right? One of the things that I do after a trial, you got to conduct the autopsy on a trial, even if you win. I do this even on trials that I win, because I want to get better each time, right? And go back and critique how you formulated your questions, especially the ones that were objected to. Mm-hmm. Go back and then re-ask those same questions, but in a leading manner. That way you get the answer you desire. I'm hoping he does that. I'm hoping he goes back and he says, oh, damn, I see how I blew that question right there. I see how I that objection was sustained. And he often abandons lines of questioning. Once he gets an objection sustained, he'll be like, okay, I'll move on to something else. Don't move on. Make your point. Where you going? You can't be moving on to other things. You got to make a point.
Don't let that judge intimidate you, because
exactly. You could yell at me 1,000 times. I'm gonna be like, thank you, judge. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Smile and say thank you. Be respectful. Mm-hmm. Right. Always show deference to the court. But I'm gonna protect this record.
Right. That's the key. Protect the record.
Absolutely.
So Ike, going back to the Trump case.
Yes.
There was some things that in the motion, I don't know if you got a chance to, you didn't get a chance to look at it. I want to go page through it.
Okay, before we do that, do you want to just briefly touch on the arguments that were held in the DC Circuit today? It's also a Trump case.
Yes.
Very briefly. Okay,
that didn't look good either.
Oh my goodness! I hope you guys were able to hear that. If not, go back. I know C-SPAN was streaming it. The DC Circuit website, they also stream it. Go back and listen. It wasn't super long. 3-judge panel in the DC Circuit heard arguments with respect to whether or not Donald Trump is immune from prosecution, and whether or not the cases should be dismissed against him. Oh my goodness. So basically, the lawyer for Donald Trump, there was a judge, Judge Pan, Asian judge. She was asking him, is it your position that a judge could order the Delta 6 or the SEAL Team 6 to take out a political operative, and that we can't do anything about that? There's no criminal liability there. And their position is, that's correct. You cannot charge a president ever for anything, so long as it was done in his official capacity. I don't think the judges were persuaded at all. They peppered him with questions. He conceded some points. He double talked, meaning he spoke out of both sides of his mouth. And I don't see them granting the relief that Trump is seeking. I just don't see it.
These also two of Biden's appointments.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, there are two Biden's appointments.
And one is the Bush appointment, I believe.
Right.
One is a Bush appointment.
Yeah, but going majority rules.
Well, I mean, at this point, this is just questions, just listening to what the court is concerned about, right? Jurisdiction. That's always a court's concern, whether or not they have the power and authority to even hear the case, right? So the court wanted to be sure that they had jurisdiction in criminal cases don't tend to have what we call interlocutory appeals. An interlocutory appeal is an appeal in the middle of the proceeding, right? Usually you don't get an appeal until there's a final judgment. That means it's all done. Then you file your appeal. This is different. And so the court is like, I don't even know. I don't even know we're supposed to be even hearing this. What say you? Right? And so I think they reached a concession because the parties were not really arguing jurisdiction. I believe that the government's position is we want the court to take jurisdiction so we don't have to fight this later, right? So find that you have the jurisdiction, give us the ruling we want so we can proceed in the way we want. Of course, he was lying. He was terrible. And his voice, oh my God, he had the scratchiest, annoying chalk on a chalkboard voice. I was like, oh, this is painful to listen to.
Well, I think Sergeant King is talking about the Stevens in the YSL, because I saw that comment.
Yes, of course he was lying. I mean, lying about what? Because the judge again, like it depends. The court will give a charge called false in one, false in all, which tells the jury when you are evaluating the testimony of a witness, if you find that they lied about some part, you can disregard that part that they lied about if you find that they were truthful in other parts. Or you can disregard their testimony in its entirety if you find that they lied about any part of it, right? So if you find that they was false in one part or false in all, you can accept either part of it, or you can accept all of it, or you can reject part of it or reject all of it. Right. So even if he was lying about one thing, the jury could credit his testimony about another thing. This is how juries come up with these verdicts that the public doesn't understand.
The beauty of this jury,
how the fuck they did that? Well, that's because the law allows them to do that.
The beauty of this jury, for at least this witness, is 9 blacks on this jury, and they can see through a lot of the BS. You know, they got people that's close to his age that can see through the BS. If he, they can, and like when he was hedging on answering questions, and
didn't you say that about the Jonathan Majors jury? Surely they can see through the BS. I'm fucking with you.
Shots fired. Let me talk. Crystal, she tried me, Crystal. Listen. He got one conviction. It was not intent. It wasn't intentional.
Got two convictions.
Write the summons.
One misdemeanor, one violation.
Write the summons and give me my 66 months probation. So Crystal, I did see that you sort of finishing up that interview, correct?
I did.
Okay. Did he redeem himself?
No. Unfortunately, it was more of the same. And as I was saying earlier, interestingly enough, which we knew I felt like was going to happen, because he doubled down on the calling. When it asked why he kept referring to asking Grace to be like a Michelle Obama or a Coretta Scott King, he doubled down and said he wanted to be. He feels that he is. He aspires to be a great man, and that's why he sees it that way. It didn't really connect, even with the additional information. In fact, it might have made it worse. He never. And I saw a few people earlier saying, well, he should not have taken accountability because he did plead not guilty. But
he is appealing.
He is, and I get, but I feel like he could have taken. He did say. She asked, did he have reckless behavior? And he said the only thing he was reckless with was her heart. And
right. Yeah.
I just,
he's so cheesy.
You gotta remember, he's appealing, so he can't say I didn't do it and then then get on on appeal.
No, I get it, but I feel like there was a way for him to show remorse for the situation, because we all know we all know what that situation is, right? And if he was reckless with her heart. There could have been for that.
Dr. Martin Luther King.
Well,
Yeah,
I do want to point out that Dr. Bernice King did address the situation with the state. And she said, she posted this on her social. My mother was not a prop. She was a peace advocate before she met my father and was instrumental in him speaking out against the Vietnam War. Please understand, my mama was a force. And then she references an article that she wrote about her mother. Even worse for Jonathan Majors. Like the thing about it though, watching him, I don't think he gets it.
Right.
I don't think he really is going to understand how offensive that comment is, considering the situation that he's in. Even him referring to Megan as his angel and his Coretta, I don't think he understands.
In January, the King's birthday is coming up. What is he doing? Jonathan, who trained you to say
he's gonna learn that? But look, he's gonna learn. He's gonna learn. He's gonna learn.
He's trying to take advantage of the holiday.
Like, I want to go rescue my sister, Megan Good. I want to go rescue my sister.
She has volunteered to put herself in this predicament.
Why
she needed to be involved? At least, even in the interview, her presence didn't need to be
there, and she looked crazy. She looked like his mama. She looked like his mama sitting there like, with the stupid face. I'm like,
that's a very good point.
Because if we go through the timeline, right? We go through the timeline. When did y'all start dating exactly?
Exactly.
When did y'all start dating? Because March, you was at the precinct talking about right. So when did y'all start dating?
Now, were you the woman that he was texting?
Right. Were you the woman on the phone? I miss kissing you. So you was in an entanglement.
I hope not, because
with this brother, and this is ridiculous. My problem with him, Jonathan, and just let me throw my lawyer hat aside for a second. Don't do interviews now when you ain't want to take the stand. You didn't take the stand. You ain't had nothing to say when it counted. You didn't have anything to say when it counted.
And his reasoning for not taking the stand was because he felt like they had enough without his testimony.
And you know who told him that? You know who misinformed him about that?
That is not enough. I would have wanted to hear him say that it was important for the jurors to hear from him and to know that he said he's never put his hand on a woman in his life. Right. Even trying to get the phone, he said in the interview today, and I don't know what was said in court, but he said that when she saw the girl, the text messages, he showed her the phone. Not in my 40 years
right.
have I ever been in a situation where a man, you see something in a man's phone, and instead of him trying to hide that phone by any means necessary, he has just showed me the phone. I'm not trying to incriminate myself, but I'm just saying, that just doesn't make sense. So,
I echo that. In my 50-something years, I'm gonna echo that. That didn't sound true. It didn't have the ring of truth. I showed her. Come on.
So one of her
we're not prosecuting this man for the crimes that he was acquitted of.
I'm just saying his explanation on did not make sense.
He managed to get an acquittal.
He did
on 2 of the counts.
He did
without testifying.
He did.
It's possible had he testified, he would have got a full acquittal.
Like if he
got a full acquittal, right?
He might have got convicted of everything.
He might have got convicted, or he might have got a full acquittal. I mean, I think it's different. Yeah, unless he would have gotten on the stand and said, "Yeah, I did that. I did it." Right? That's the only thing that would have, gotten an acquittal on all the counts, because clearly they didn't prove intent without him.
Yeah.
If he would have gotten on there, he could have explained something in that, but maybe negated the recklessness.
At least got some type of empathy for the fact that he was, I would always err on the side of human connection. So
right. And I think also because he's celebrity, Crystal, the jury wanted to hear from him.
I agree.
He's not your regular defendant where, you say, my client doesn't have to testify, and I trust that you won't hold a negative inference about
you just
that.
Nailed it. Ike, you just solved the case. They were mad that they convicted him for that one count because he didn't get on the stand and sign autographs. He didn't do the things.
Unless you tried it.
Whatever.
They did worse.
Listen,
from my perspective.
Hold on. Crystal, at least when Cardi came to court, she got on the stand.
You know what?
She talked to the jurors. She looked at the jurors. She looked at the judge. She even cussed everybody. She cussed in the courtroom.
The love affair with one Cardi B is noted. However,
right.
We're talking about Jonathan, and I think if you look at the court case, he actually did better than people think. They thought guilty, but if you look at what it is, it's actually not. It's definitely a misdemeanor. But I feel like the interview that he did in the court of public opinion did far worse for him than that verdict. It's almost like he just should have kept quiet.
That was a felony.
Especially, I think he should at least kept quiet until after sentencing. What he's talking about?
Why did he choose in between to talk? Like, why not either before?
I don't understand who's advising this man. I really don't.
The statement that came out after with his interview. Well, the lawyer for Grace Jabari says, "Well, this shows that he just take no responsibility. That should work well for sentencing."
Yes, I saw that.
What are you talking about?
I saw that. Listen, she's not wrong.
She's not
right?
wrong.
Because the judges, has the discretion to sentence him up to a year.
Up to a year, yeah.
Up to a year.
To your point, Crystal.
It wasn't good. It wasn't
to your point, Crystal. It did make sense to when you communicate with to your audience. You can't forget that she's still someone who has influence over the outcome, some influence over the outcome of the sentence. I don't know if they take victim impact statements for this low level.
They do.
They do.
Well, yikes.
But she's not gonna say anything that she hasn't already said. Right?
Yeah.
But she actually might say, "Don't send him to jail." I love him, and
I could see
he didn't mean to do it, right? Even the jury said he didn't mean to do it.
Yeah,
I could see her doing that.
And he said that in the interview.
Megan Good, he gonna leave your ass up? No, I'm sorry.
He did say in his interview that he still loved her. Or he loves her.
He did. He said love. I think he said love
in past tense because he's moved on, and he did say, "I just want to point out again." For our good sis Megan, that we are trying to send a smoke signal to.
Yes, we are, sis.
That the relationship was still fresh, but I think I found the one.
No,
it is not fresh when she has been by your side through court. I mean,
that was a signal. Like when he sat down, like, bruh, you got Megan Good. You saying still fresh?
Yeah,
man, you gotta embrace this, bruh. What are you doing? You saying fresh? Like she's just here. It's fresh.
Like, I don't know. I'm not locked into this.
I'm not sure.
Right. That's what I got. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about still?
But I think I found
I got options.
She's held me down. But she's held me down like Coretta.
First of all, it's a trauma bond, right? That's the first thing.
But it's disgusting because it's like when I'm in trouble, she's been an angel, but I'm not sure if I want. This is really it's just a lot of implications. Especially for Black women, when you were with a wife, it's a lot that doesn't feel right.
Right. Well, yeah. All of that, Crystal.
She must be on a. No, we're not going to read that comment. Crystal, Ike, thank you for the this impromptu live. It was good. You didn't want to read anything from the contract of the motion.
No, I mean we can, but it's 127 pages, and we'll be here all night doing that. Is there anything in particular any parts you want to highlight?
I kind of want to. No, I just want you to look at some of the look at, let's see. Let me pull something up here. Hold on 1 second. We're not going to be here all night. We definitely won't do that. Hold on here. Let's see what we got here. Can you see it, both of you?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's not the point. The part that's interesting to me as someone that is,
give me a page number.
Hold on. Let me go because there's quite a few pages. Hold on.
This instant motion is not filed lightly. That stood out.
Just because you say it doesn't make it true, Dennis. That's like the people who say.
That's what lawyer would say. Go ahead.
Right? No, or the people that qualify things before they say it. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I hope so, motherfucker.
Dennis, page 5 to me. Those points are
okay. Let's go to page 5. Hold on. Those are some good points, but just because you said, don't mean it's true. Hold on. Let me go ahead. 5. Okay. Here we go. You see it, Ike?
Okay. More.
Oh, okay. You talking about these bullet points, Crystal?
Yeah. How do we know this? Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you enlarge it, Dennis? Or read it?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can read it. Hold on a second. Enlarge it. Okay. Stretch it a little more. Hold on. Okay. Point 1. Open records requests into Fulton County revealed that the district attorney did not obtain county approval to appoint the special prosecutor. Why would the district attorney not obtain the approval prior to appointing the special prosecutor? Good question.
Why would she have to? See, that's the thing. Is there some type of, like how when contractors want to bid for city projects,
and right? we don't know if she didn't do it. The open records request revealed. Oh, yes, it says revealed that she didn't. Okay,
and
so
she didn't, but there's the converse is not stated. Was she required to? Right, so we don't know that she was required to. It just says that she didn't.
But we don't know what she required to. Okay, the special prosecutor has admitted his admitted his oath was not filed prior to his work on this case.
Why? That was already addressed. That issue was already addressed. Yep.
The judge addressed that.
The judge is like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's ministerial and it's relax.
Okay, so why?
Pretty much, the judge is like, settle down. It's not that deep. He's still good money.
The special prosecutor is seeking a divorce in Cobb County and sought successfully to seal those records, hiding them from public view. Why would a private citizen such as the special prosecutor shield filing related to his income and spending from public view? Well, no,
I would shield it from public ridicule. That's why. That's why you do that.
Public ridicule.
I would want your divorce, the grounds of your divorce. Who the fuck divorces get messy? Right. Who knows what the hell his ex-wife is in there saying? All kinds of
Tyrese had his sealed as well. So that's not
a bullet.
But that's not
not uncommon, and it is not indicative of anything.
Reaching is reaching.
Okay.
I mean,
it doesn't even suggest impropriety. That's just dumb.
Yeah, that's reaching. Okay, what's the third bullet? Hold on.
4. I think we're up to.
While the filings in the divorce case are sealed by court order, the legality of which is open to question, information obtained outside of court filings indicates that the district attorney and special prosecutor have traveled personally together to such places as Napa Valley, Florida, and the Caribbean. And the special prosecutor has purchased tickets for both of them to travel on both the Norwegian Caribbean cruise line. Traveling together to such places as Washington, D.C. or New York City might make sense for work purposes in light of other pending litigation, but what work purpose could only be served by travel to the traditional vacation destinations? That's the problem. That's a problem.
That's a problem. That is a problem, because you would imagine there's some documentation for that. For them to make that allegation, I mean, because if it's frivolous, if this stuff is frivolous, the sanctions that are going to come down.
Yikes. The sanctions.
Oh my God. And the defamation of character lawsuit that Fani will be filing. I mean, can't come fast enough. But that should be easily to document if it happened.
If it should. I have a question for you, Ike. If is there an issue with him not having experience? This bullet point down here, the special prosecutor, based on his lack of experience in this type of felony, would not be qualified under Fulton County standards to be appointed to represent any defendant in this case, given the complexity of the charges. If the special prosecutor is not qualified to defend this case under Fulton County standards, then how is he qualified to prosecute the case? Is that why the district attorney did not seek approval for his appointment? If so, did she seek to appoint an unqualified lawyer without approval to preside over this prosecution? Is that an issue if he does not have experience?
Absolutely. That's absolutely an issue. Mostly because this is a high profile case that is extremely complicated. It's a Rico case. You need to have experienced litigators in the courtroom who know how to handle the volume of the evidence, right? It's voluminous. I'm talking terabytes of material. Have to be able to manage the evidence effectively. That takes experience. And I would say more than just your run-of-the-mill, a few years of state trial experience. You probably need a little state and a little federal experience to deal with the Rico. That is egregious and does raise significant red flags. Now, what they were referring to was there are standards, right, on certain panels. So you want to work for the public defender's office, right? And you want to handle felonies, you have to be certified by the felony panel to be a defense attorney, right? And you have to have a certain level of experience and training in order to be qualified to be on that type of panel. So what they're saying is this person wouldn't have been qualified to even be on a defense bar.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't have the experience. So how could you be a prosecutor, a special prosecutor? And I think that's a valid point.
And that's mentioned several times.
Let me also make a point. The last time Fani appeared in the court was for the revocation hearing of Floyd. Right. Well, you have a special prosecutor that should be experienced enough to handle a revocation hearing.
Right.
Why is the prosecutor showing? Why is this guy's getting all this money? Why did she even show up? Now, if you think about it, why did Fani Willis even show up at this hearing? Why was you there? Because he can't handle a revocation hearing?
That's
because that didn't make much sense. Now that what we know today, you came in to handle a revocation hearing. You are the DA for Fulton County. You paying your special prosecutor $650,000 to date, and he can't handle a revocation hearing by himself?
No. This says, since being appointed as special prosecutor, the special prosecutor has been paid an estimated amount of almost $1 million in legal fees. Of course, additional fees would be expected when private counsel is hired, but that would assume they are not in a relationship with the district attorney. The next point says the special prosecutor's fees have been lucrative in comparison by any reasonable measure. The district attorney's yearly salary includes state and county supplements is $1,098,266. Well, no, 198. Oh, the district.
I thought I say she make $1 million.
No. 108. I'm sorry. Okay. The district attorney's yearly salary $190,000, and the total annual budget for Fulton County District Attorney's Office for the fiscal year 2022 was $31 million. The district attorney lobbied for additional money from Fulton County to hire lawyers and staff to clear the backlog after COVID. Why didn't she use that money to hire qualified in-house staff to try this case? Why did she instead use that money to retain the special prosecutor? So then it goes.
It is. If you're looking at
one of the things that is going to be looked at is what other attorneys were available, right, that were more experienced or better trained that could have served in the capacity of a special prosecutor that she didn't use, right? Because what is her defense going to be? He's the only one who was available.
Yeah. Nah.
Right? He was the only one who we could get to do it for $2.50 an hour. I don't know.
Yeah, and then there's mentions of there being witnesses that they have acknowledged that they're in the personal relationship. That all looks really bad.
Well, she got leaks in her office. She has leaks in her office, and people are talking. That's what's happening.
I just don't want this to be true. I need her to do better. You can't do this, man. Because it reflects on all professional, it reflects on all of us. I'm sorry. It reflects on all of us.
Specifically Black women.
Yes.
It does.
In these spaces, man. I'm sorry, Dennis. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You have to think about the people who are not getting paid what they should get paid. And you have someone coming from another county that's getting all this money. And then he's allegedly having an affair with the boss. Like this, they're going to be saying it like, listen, let me say something. They got people in our office that will be singing and one to still get removed if this is true.
So if this is true, I think she should step down.
I think so too.
Right? Have some modicum of professionalism, right? So that they don't drag you through the fire.
Yeah.
Step
down. Destroy the next woman's chance of getting in that position. But I think it should be quickly and quietly, but it's going to cause, it is going to leave residue on both these cases, unfortunately.
Yeah. You know? Because it calls into question the integrity of the entire process now. Right. And so some judge might say, you know what? I can't trust that this was done properly and dismiss this indictment. Maybe they dismiss it without prejudice, meaning they could bring charges again, right? Submit it to a new grand jury and get a new indictment. Or because these allegations are so egregious, a judge could dismiss it with prejudice. Right? Because this is not an act that wasn't willfully done. This wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
Right? And so the judge could seek to do it with prejudice to make an example out of DAs. Like, listen, no, y'all don't do this. Don't do what she did. Because now this guy got to get out this whole, they got to get out of jail free card.
And just imagine, and we don't have to imagine too long, that a judge presiding over this hearing, which will be Judge McAfee, they're going to be questions asked, of the prosecutor and special prosecutor, and one of the lingering questions is going to be: have you two traveled to this island on a cruise?
Well, that won't have to be asked because that's easy to prove. So if that's the case, they're going to have proof of that. I don't know why it's attached to this filing, but
because they know someone's tipped them off already. Someone's tipped them off.
I doubt very seriously that the proof is not there, because for them to put those specific travel lines in there, there's proof.
They have the devil's in the details, right?
The Norwegian cruise lines is very specific.
That's very specific. So yeah.
This must be the fake Tommy Sotomayor. Is that the fake Tommy Sotomayor?
I don't know.
Something in the middle of
I don't know if that's the real Tommy Sotomayor. That might be the fake one. Because Tommy Sotomayor would
in the chat.
Yeah. So this is. I don't think the attorney would.
That's coming from my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
If the prosecutor commented, maybe committed these acts after the defendant. T. Hill, I don't know what you're trying to say. I'm trying to answer a question or two. Okay, if you're just joining us, we are looking and going over the motion that was filed in Georgia, Fulton County, on the Trump case, a motion to disqualify and or dismiss the indictment or disqualify the DA, Fani Willis, based on allegations that she is having
hold on. Tommy, I dropped the link. If that's you, come on up. If that's
a romantic relationship prior to the indictment and during the course of this investigation. Just to catch y'all up.
Okay, Crystal, what else did you see in that?
So hold on. Let me go back. So, in light of the district attorney's personal relationship to the special prosecutor, to his appointment as a special prosecutor, his appointment created an impermissible and irreparable conflict of interest under Georgia rules of professional conduct, which requires a disqualification of both lawyers and their respective offices and firms. The district attorney's apparent intentional failure to disclose her conflict of interest to Fulton County and the court, combined with her decision to employ the special prosecutor based on her own personal interests, may well be an act to defraud the public of honest services, since the district attorney personally benefited from an undisclosed conflict of interest, which is a crime under 18 USC 1346.
1346.
The federal crime that they're citing.
Yeah, result
1346. It's a federal crime punishable up to 20 years.
Which could result in a Rico charge against both the district attorney and the special prosecutor.
Wouldn't that be
They are going for the juggler. Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be something? That would be crazy. Boy, wouldn't that be a turn of events?
Unfortunate.
This is not no. These claims are not light, and
they're not. This is serious.
I mean, like, you're accusing them of a crime.
This is serious. I mean, like the committee who oversees attorneys in Georgia, they will be investigating as well. This is a big deal.
And I
want to say something no one really thought about, but the governor who can remove a prosecutor is looking at this as well. The governor, Brian Kemp, is going to look at this, and he's going to have to vet it out. And the judge on this case was prior to becoming the judge, he was the inspector general. So this is going to not just be, oh, Your Honor, just ignore it.
Right. No. Somebody's going to have some answers. Oh, yeah. Somebody's going to have some answers.
They have some proof. They
gotta. I would imagine they have to have something.
They have some proof, because this is the last point in that bulleted list is putting aside both the legal and ethical implications of their conduct. Their conduct also undermines the sanctity of the criminal justice system, erodes public trust in our judicial system, and would place them above the law. To allow this conduct to go unchecked by a powerful public elected official threatens to undermine the very principles of democracy that the district attorney herself claims to defend in this prosecution. It seems hard to believe that such a powerful person could escape scrutiny and accountability for such egregious conduct simply because she believes she maintains a moral high ground and holds on to one of the powerful positions in the state of Georgia. This is particularly true since she has used that platform and the megaphone it provides to tour the country giving interviews in her pursuit of a conviction.
That sounds personal.
It is personal.
I know that was the jab. Did you see that?
Was and that means that they are standing on what they believe is business. They're standing on business. That was the final.
Oh God.
This is hard to believe that she would, which is what we're all saying. Like, how could this be? But I think that's how these things always happen. Like, things are hiding in plain sight all the time.
Well, we don't know. See, I'm I really want to believe that this is not true.
Yeah,
I really want to believe that they just.
You want to believe that all of it is not true.
I want to believe all this is not true. I want to believe that Ashley Merchant is making this up, but I like Ashley too. But I hope Ashley not doing this.
She could have a good faith base in her in filing the motion if she believes what she'd been told.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's true.
With no proof of any of that, though.
She should have did the filing. She did her own investigation. And she said,
irresponsible.
Maybe she just thought it was just too juicy not to file. Like, this information is just it's explosive. I gotta file something.
But it's a lot. I don't know. Somebody needs to be in trouble.
Is this scheduled for oral arguments, Dennis? Or when is it returnable?
Well,
okay, when is it returnable? When is the motion returnable?
The judge hasn't responded. It was just filed. It was just filed yesterday.
Usually the cover page on the motion tells you when it's returnable. The first page asks the court to return. Well, at least that's how we do it in New York.
Yes,
right?
It's Georgia.
It's Georgia. It's different there. They don't have because there's a schedule. You file a motion. The defense doesn't have, the opposing counsel doesn't have, all year to respond. When does she have to respond by? Okay, when does she have to respond by? Let's see. Okay, hold on. Comes now, supervised proud order, defendant Michael's motion. Is there a notice of motion?
That might be
the actual motion. Is there a notice of motion?
Yeah, that's filed. I don't have it up. That was filed.
Okay, so the notice of motion will have the date that the motion is returnable.
Okay.
So we'll have some sort of idea of where we are time-wise, because typically these motions are on a schedule. You usually have 7 days to respond, depending on where we are. So she has to respond within a certain time frame, and then the court has to decide it.
She has 10 days to respond. I believe it's 10 days. All right,
10 days sound good. 10 days sound good. Well, we in day 2 or 3 or something right now.
Listen,
on day 9 of 2024. That's what we're on. Day 9 of 2024. This is too much.
This is too much. And it's a lot. Well, something I saw also. I really wish they didn't do that. They put the kids' pictures in the publication. They put the kids' pictures in the publication. Wade's kids.
Wade's kids.
Oh wow.
Yes.
How old are they?
Well, they're older. I think someone just tried to come up. Did you hear that? Someone just tried to come up. Oh,
are they minors?
Hold on one second. I do see someone here. Hold on.
I've got to get out of here, Dennis. I've got another.
You don't want to leave. You don't want to leave, Crystal.
I have to. I've got to.
You don't want to leave. That is Tommy. Wait a minute. That is Tommy. I know that smile anywhere.
I told you.
How the hell are you, Tommy?
I'm well. How are you?
Man, I haven't seen you in years, brother.
Yeah,
it's sad you haven't seen me in years. You have been looking.
I know.
What's going on, Tommy?
I was just on Fox News, last week?
Oh, wow.
Okay, he checked you, Dennis. He's
basically
in the right places.
Tommy with that. Tommy with that.
How you
Tommy,
guys
what's
doing?
going on with you, Tommy?
I'm doing well. I was watching you guys and saw what you were talking about. Very interesting to see. Not many people want to talk about the ins and outs of legally what's going on with Donald Trump, especially here in my state in Georgia.
Well, our state. How about that?
Oh, you're in Georgia as well?
Absolutely. I'm covering the Trump case. I'm part of the pool.
Nice.
So, what's your thoughts, Tommy? You saw the filing. You saw this this very interesting motion filing by Michael Roman through his counsel. What do you think about the claims that are being made?
Well, I didn't get to see everything that was there. And I know my girl, who is a lawyer, she probably follows it a little bit more than me. And that's why I was interested in letting her hear it. But I find an issue with the idea that they are going after Donald Trump so hard, and how legally you can find yourself in trouble because of but I would ask you guys, how do you see it? I see it as a rogue prosecution, but I don't know which side of the aisle that you guys fall. And it seems
I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
All right. So you're one, when you say you're in the middle, are you one that says, let's see it play out?
Absolutely. Let's see what they have. I mean, the fact that you had a special grand jury that returned an indictment, you have to see where that indictment takes you at. You don't want to just discredit it just because the Democrats were successful in getting the indictment on him. We want to see what the jurors, and you got to go through the whole process of picking jurors and everything, and the jurors may see something totally different.
Well, I will weigh in on it. I just, because we haven't discussed this part, but I think that Fani's prosecution is wholly unnecessary. She has absolutely no reason to bring any type of case against Donald Trump. The federal government is doing it. Jack Smith is doing it. Why are you have a parallel state prosecution? For what reason? At the same damn time? Why? And you're using the resources of this county to prosecute it for what? For what? When like Fulton County don't need that money for other things.
Right. Yeah. People sitting in Fulton County jail right now.
And it seems to me that it's a notoriety thing for Fani. Yeah. Let me prosecute Trump. I could grab him. I could be the Tish James of Georgia, right? Because I could prosecute him too. Look, Black women united against Trump.
I know you said Barney Cloud
votes. Thank you. It's a votes thing. Like she said, you got these black women and they're saying they're united against Trump. And one of the things I saw that happened and I'm so glad that you guys said this, or that you said this, dear, because I saw something else that happened. I don't know if you guys saw, and I think it's a parallel. I saw what was going on with Taraji P. Henson. She was talking about she, is not getting paid her fair wages. And they were expecting every black woman to fall in line and say, yes, us too. Do y'all see what they're saying when the other black actresses are saying, well, I don't have that problem?
Well, really, the only one said that was Vivica.
Yeah, Vivica said it, and there was one other, Fantasia just said it, and she was talking about being on the set of The Color Purple, and she said she didn't have that problem.
She did. She didn't have the issue with rental cars and all that.
Driving her own car.
Girl, just give me a car, I drive myself.
Right.
And like this idea that you have people upset that you're not falling in line. That's true. To bring it back to the prosecutor understands that we have a lot of lemming mentality. So one goes, we all just jump over. And she knows I can get the vote because so many people hate the name Trump. And what I'm scared of is this, and I want you guys to tell me if I might be wrong. My fear is this: we as black people have been unjustly prosecuted since we came to this country. Done wrong by the justice.
I just said that.
You just said that. So why would we get behind this type of witch hunt prosecution when the same people who are allowing us to do it will then turn around and do it right back to us and say, well, you were okay with it when it was done here. Right. So how are you going to now have a problem now?
Good point.
Right. It's a slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope.
If that, along with that, with everything that looks to be, at least from this filing, because I just cannot believe that there won't be something in here. There's not some meat someplace in this. Then that would be a cautionary tale of when you're out there trying to do something on the strength of it being an opportunity for you, and it is a witch hunt. Then it's very easy for things to turn around and you to
the pendulum swings both ways.
Dig your own grave.
Well, listen, if we are going to talk about Fani, we really need to put in context, who she is when it comes to, uplifting black folks. That's not her role. She doesn't see that. She doesn't see herself as that. She's the prosecutor who went after the teachers. She's the one who's going after Young Thug with this ridiculous Rico trial. So we're seeing black prosecutors who claim to be progressive get in the office and then fuck shit up. Same with Alvin Braggs. That Jonathan Major debacle, that's a black man running that office.
That's right. Right? That's right. Let's talk about it. If we really want to talk about it, let's put it on the table.
I think
you trying to upset some people, young lady. You trying to upset some people. Y'all trying to upset some people.
I have a habit of doing that.
You have to. It has to go both ways, though. It has to go both ways, because there were so many people that were saying that she was, and Dennis and I are both a part of the entertainment community, and there were so many people that didn't even care about the facts. They're just like, oh, she should not be going after a black woman, should not be going after a black man. I feel like even in the conversation that we had day before yesterday with Jonathan Majors, talking about him where he could go interview. So many people get upset when we do hold each other accountable. So that's another issue. I'm not saying, we can't go on. It's a ditch on either side of the road. Yes, we should be treating people equal, but yes, we also have the responsibility and accountability to if another Black person is doing something that is illegal, it is her job as the district attorney to go after that. So
it is, but it's not her job to construct things out of air.
Amen.
That's not her job. That Rico indictment, you stretched your arm back to 2013, 2014, 2015 when these people were kids and wasn't even no damn YSL.
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me the little drug slinging they was doing in front of the gas station? You think that's Rico level drug dealing? That's crazy.
Think about it. I grew up in an era. I'm an old man. This is just for me and in my beard, so pay no attention. But I grew up where I listened to garage bands in the 90s. You know, you had your Nirvanas. And you also had the country music. I'm a Southern boy from Georgia. And they talked about shooting their wives, drinking, doing all kinds of stuff. Who's ever used their lyrics? Who's ever used Kurt Cobain's lyrics? Who's ever used any of those they're talking about shooting up stuff? Who's ever used their lyrics against them? We act like Blacks are the only ones who've had violent lyrics. When whites have had violent lyrics, violent movies, violence is inherent in United States culture, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And yet these groups of young Black men are being prosecuted off of the words that were in their songs by other Black folks who seem to be wanting a pat on the back or a pat on the head by the establishment, not because they're really trying to clean up Fulton County. Because Fulton County, if we want to talk about it, that Henry County, both of those are hellholes for young Black men being put in jail. And we watched them be put in there, and we watched their civil rights be circumvented at best. They treat them worse than they treat dogs. But we as Black people will, as soon as we go to jail, we'll tell them you shouldn't have went to jail. Instead of trying to figure out what's going on with these people and how are they allowing these schools, same school system, which suck. So it looks like a pipeline of young Black men going from these poor schools to these jails.
It is absolutely.
It is a pipeline. It don't look like it. It is a pipeline.
And why is this county jail? 24 people who died in Fulton County Jail already since this new sheriff took over.
Yeah.
Why?
It's acceptable. That's acceptable.
Yes.
It's acceptable. Why? That's why.
Because we view our own people as criminals. We view our own people as criminals. We don't care what happened to them when they went in there.
Yeah, you don't have any rights anymore. Yeah, they don't.
Only time we won't reform is when they murder one of us and it's on television and it's easy for us to be able to get some clicks and views by saying we love George Floyd. But were we there for George Floyd before his last breath? No. Did we care about what was going on with George Floyd? No. So then why is it that, as a matter of fact, if George Floyd, I'll give y'all a perfect example. People hate when I give this example, but it's a truth. If you look at what happened with Sandra Bland, before Sandra Bland lost her life, she was arrested and she called several of her family members because her bail was just $500. Her sister told her, you shouldn't have got in trouble. I can't help you. $500. She's dead. Now the whole family gets millions of dollars.
Right.
You wouldn't give her. And let me tell you something. I'm not a person who is a stranger to the law. I've run afoul of it a couple of times. Tell you, I have pastors in my family. I have a lot of good people in my family. When you get locked up behind them bars, the majority of them will tell you, you shouldn't have been, you shouldn't have done. They don't care how you got there. They just see that you're there and they think that you'll get out when you get out.
Right.
And it's sad that we throw each other away. And the only people who really care about us becomes the Innocence Project, a bunch of whites and Jews.
Ooh. You get stepping on toes tonight now.
Right.
Stepping on toes.
That's what time was.
It's true.
That is true.
Absolutely is true.
I mean, it's a complex issue, though.
Yes. Is it really?
I think from an emotional standpoint of being a family member, my younger brother went to jail at 16, and when you and of course, you know, I was the older sister. You're constantly trying to say, don't get in trouble. You don't really know what to do. And of course, me being we're 3 years apart. So I remember when he went to jail the first time, he went to jail for 4 years. My mother didn't have the money to get pay for a lawyer. He went to jail for auto theft for 4 years. At 16, was put in maximum security like an adult. He came home and did not know what to do. My mother and I did not know really how to help him get a job. He ended up finding a job and then was told he didn't put down that he was a felon. And I will never forget the day where he came in and they found his record, fired him. And this white man told him, "You will always be a convicted felon. That will always be who you are." And at that point he gave up. He ended up going back to jail and did not, never really got over that. Right. So I'm saying, for the family members and for people that are trying to, most of us are first, second generation middle class, trying to figure out how to help our family, but yet how to push our families, our immediate families away from that. So, because I don't want my son to be influenced by that, but I also want to be able to help my brother. Just kind of using that analogy, as a lot of times it's not as simple as that there's not care. I think that there is a system in place that has really worked to divide us as a community, because you do have.
This is doing what it was designed to do.
It is. So we see.
Right, but if we have the awareness about the system, why do we keep letting the system do what it was designed to do?
Say it. Why I've asked this question all the time. The pro-blacks speak about this. They'll say the system's doing this, the system's doing it. I said, if everybody knows what this system is doing it, or what the system is doing, how is it we still fall victim to it? If everyone knows it.
It's obviously more complex than that, because at this point we have Black women that are being put in position and used as pawns to
keep the system going.
Keep the system going, right?
Keep it going.
I'm gonna do like Homer Simpson.
Right.
It's true. It's true. It is true. It is true.
Listen, I think that we need to, as Black people, we just need to be there for each other. We need to understand that we are a traumatized people.
We are.
And we don't always show up walking straight. And
do we want to commune on color, though? Because if you think about it, white people don't commune on color. No, they have nationalities, they have religion, they have all these different things. And I think that's where we fail when we say we as Black people, because they don't say we as whites. They have whites that don't like
to. That's the default. They don't have to say we as white.
They don't have to.
They got whites that don't like the other side of the white. Well, they got whites that don't like the other side of the white.
One mic.
Oh, sorry. But I was saying they got whites that don't like the other side of the whites. You got to think about it. The bloodiest thing that happened on United States soil was what?
Civil War.
Civil War. It was whites versus white, and it was white people grew up in the same house.
Yeah, but they was fighting over blacks. It was fighting about blacks.
But they we got to do this to get to a unity. Yeah, but think about it. They said we got to do this to get to a unity. You look at what happened with the Jews. If you read the Bible, what happened when they left them out in the wilderness for 40 years? It was literally to let the ones who didn't want to follow the new order
progress.
They couldn't go into the promised land. You couldn't go in. God, we don't, as Blacks, we won't do what everyone else does. Have a civil war. Say we're going to go on ideal. If you idealistically cannot follow this way that we know work, then we're going to go against you before we go against anybody else. When you have a team, I don't know if any of y'all ever played on a team. You got to have a fight in practice before you can have a fight on the court with the other team.
That's right.
You do.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Scrimmage. Definitely.
Gotta do it.
So we need a scrimmage. You saying we need some scrimmage?
We gotta do it. We gotta do it.
Think about it between the ninjas and the Blacks. Like I hate.
All my life I had to fight.
We gotta do it. We gotta hold a scrimmage.
No, we gotta hold a scrimmage between the Blacks and the ninjas.
Gotta hold a scrimmage.
Oh man.
We gotta say who's gonna win. We gotta say we're gonna fight. What I think I saw a movie, a white movie, where the man said, when we get back, it was Young Guns. Charlie Sheen and his brother Emilio Estevez was in the movie, and in the movie they played like Charlie was the head of the faction, and Billy the Kid was the young up and comer. He grabbed him. He said, "When we get back, you and me gonna have a fight over who gonna run this outfit. We can't both be running."
Black who's the strongest.
Yeah, we somebody got to decide who gonna lead and who gonna follow, and we got to handle it the right way. And I think it's time for us to do it because we have way too many ninjas or naysayers, as my man would say. We got too many naysayers. We need to let a naysayer know. And
that was good. That's good.
Those who know.
Right.
They say no.
They say no. And I think we have to
using that.
I did a video today, and I throw it back to y'all. But I did a video today where a woman was saying, any black man who makes $70,000 or less is not a high valued man. She said,
"Oh Lord,
wow. If you empty trash," she said, "if you're a fireman," she said, she kept naming these things, and I'm pretty sure you, Dennis, you guys know. One, I was shocked she didn't say anything about why we don't have enough lawyers, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to stop you because I saw you up here, Akeisha. I think I'm saying it right, Miss Housebag.
Yes.
So you love seeing that we don't have enough judges. We talk about how the system treats blacks. But if we wanted to have a better system, put more of us in the system, i.e., like the Jews did.
Well, when we get in those positions, because we just, I would just call Dennis about a black judge that was acting inappropriately. I mean, we just have to be ready for those positions, and I think
we got to get the right ones in it.
Yeah, we have to get the right ones in it, but we also have to hold each other accountable.
Yes, when you get in there,
it's unfortunate that. I remember growing up from our generation, it was like, don't you get up in there. Don't you get up here and embarrass me. And I think after a while, we got to the point we don't like feeling like that. It's like, well, I shouldn't have to carry the weight of the entire race on my back. Well, unfortunately, sis, you do.
You should.
You do.
Unfortunately, Fani, you do. Unfortunately, you do. And I think
Patrick, you do.
All of that.
I think we need to change the narrative, though, when it comes to having black people in these positions, because I will tell you, when I was a prosecutor first, and baby, the hood came for me. Oh, you popo now? Yeah. Oh, you right? And it same thing with the black cop, right? And what we did is we discouraged a whole generation of kids from getting into law enforcement, getting into law, getting into these positions where we can affect fundamental change. I used to tell people, you want me as the prosecutor who might understand why you were selling a couple of bags, or you want that person over there who ain't got a fucking clue, right? You want to have us in that. It matters. Perspective matters, right? I have been in situations where if I hadn't told the prosecutor that what you're looking at is not a crime, they were ready to indict somebody, ready to run up in people's houses, like what we saw in the young gun trial, in the thug trial, right? With the prosecutor saying, "Look at these text messages. He said 24 M's on an end head." When this dude is really just talking about Lil Uzi Vert who put a diamond in the middle of his head. You have contorted and twisted what you think this conversation is to me. Now we got a Rico. Yeah.
Right.
Representation matters.
We need to encourage our people. Rap lyrics that you don't understand to prosecute people. You want to use the rap lyrics that you don't understand to prosecute people who understand what the rap lyrics mean to them. So,
but then we also cannot get in there and tell the lawyer that's representing us, which is not black, that truly humbled under God is the acronym for that.
You see me sit back did you see me sit back, Crystal? You see me sit? I'm sitting way. I'm back here like, oh my God.
Hey, look, Bill Clinton said I did not have sex with that woman. Then he said, "What do you mean by sex?"
I think it would have been better delivered.
Like he didn't know. What kind of sex you talking?
Gotta clarify.
Is he truly humbled under God? Is that a matter of speech? Or was that where the name came? I mean, come on.
Was that even, my thing is it's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
It's not even necessary for you, Mr. Steele, to try to explain something that most people know. That whole pushing positivity. I'm sorry, have you heard the song? Have you heard the song?
Like, come on,
bro.
Like,
Mr. Steele, you got 9 blacks on the jury. You got 9 blacks on the jury.
And the thing about that,
they got kids. They gonna go. What? Man, they were lying. That lawyer was lying, man, when he said that.
Here's the problem with that, Dennis. Right? Is that when a juror doesn't trust you, they don't accept what you say. They don't accept your position because they don't trust you. You lack integrity, right? And so, how do you get them? How do you convince people who don't trust you?
Well, I want to ask you that. Then that's a great point. What can Mr. Steele do when he's in that situation? Because you as an attorney, when you're looking at that jury, you know you may have some hard things against you that you want to either overcome or just gloss over and get past them real quick. Right. How do you do it without losing the jury and making them think, okay, well, you're a liar. You just told us this means pushing positivity, and we know that's not what that means. Or do they understand? Do you think that maybe they'll understand, since you say you have so many blacks on there, they'll understand you're trying to gloss over this thing that you can't really win?
No, see, those black people in the jury will feel manipulated. They will feel manipulated by things like pushing positivity, and that's not going to work for these jurors. They know better, right?
You got to concede.
No, there's a couple of things you can do. The first thing is you concede. Right. You concede that he is an artist and this is part of his artistry, right? This goes along with his image that he's selling, right? Just like anybody else who's selling a fantasy, right? If you, just like the chicks on OnlyFans, you're selling a fantasy. This is no different, right? So one, concede. Why are you fighting against the evidence that is obvious?
Right.
Concede that shit. Secondly, the other thing you do is what we talked about the other time is primacy and recency. When you have bad shit, put it in the middle. People remember what they hear first and what they hear last. Yeah. Right? The rule of primacy and recency says that. And so if it's something that's really bad, try to put it in the middle and hope that they forget.
Well, okay. I want to jump on that part where you talk about OnlyFans, because I used to make jokes with people when I dated a chick who did porn. She said, I'm just an actress. And I was like, that is not a CGI penis you were sucking. That thing was pretty real.
But that's exactly what you gotta be enthusiastic and stuff. You gotta look at the camera. That takes a certain level of skill.
It's like when you say that, do people get to the point with Young Thug when you say, oh, it's just a character? Do you say the same thing that I say I told that girl? Well, that character looked pretty real.
Yeah. So does Quentin Tarantino's movies. They look pretty real too. Right?
And I'm saying, it gets to a point if you start conceding so many things. I think that's the scary part.
Right. You got to be selective. You don't concede everything. I'm going to concede what I can't deny.
What I can't deny.
Right. I'm only conceding what I can't deny. Mm-hmm. And I can't deny.
I know the prosecutor. Listen, the prosecutor is going to remind the jurors, this opening and closing are not evidence, but they're going to remind the jurors of whatever. So the defense is going to do the same thing too. Remind them of things that they weren't able to prove, and or things they said that turned around wasn't what they actually said. So you got to be honest going in, like he said. So you don't have to really do much of a cleanup. You don't go in with a damage in aisle 9. Because that right there, when that happened, we sit in the media room. When Brian said that, we all looked at each other. I know he ain't trying to BS this jury at the opening. I know he didn't just do this. And then it was trending.
It was because it was a joke. Mm-hmm. Like you made a mockery of this, and he came up with that. He had to. Because I know he didn't sit down with Jeffrey Williams and say, listen, how are we going to explain this thug thing?
What exactly is this song?
I think we should say truly humble.
Doug looked at Brian.
So y'all think?
I mean, Doug looked at Adams and like, hey, why you tell me you're going to say that?
Oh, so he was like he didn't. Because I was really hoping.
Y'all he was blindsided.
So y'all believe he was blindsided?
I didn't tell me.
I can't imagine he would co-sign that. I can't imagine that he would have said, yeah, sell that.
That's corny.
Something that he had not cleared with his client first, though?
Well, can I say this to y'all? I think a lot of times when you're in fear of your life, and you probably know this more, Ms. Al-Shabazz, you probably know this more than I would. If you're in fear of your life, and I've been on the other side of being in fear of your life, you almost put it on this person because you're afraid now to not listen to their advice.
Yeah, true.
So even if it doesn't sound right, you're paying them $75,000. So you kind of want to take their advice, because if you don't, well, like, what do you do? Pay this man that much money and then tell him different?
I don't. It's possible, but I would imagine that it's more of a working together, right? Because this is not your everyday run of the mill client, right? So you need his input.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't there in 2013, 14, 15. You need his input. So he has to be participating very heavily in this case. What I do think is that he didn't have time to go over his opening statement with him. When you have a defendant who's in jail, you don't have the same meet time as you would as an out defendant, right? Because I could be like, listen, be at my office soon as we get up out of here. Go get something to eat. Meet me back in my office so we can run through what we're doing tomorrow. That's typically how you want to do a trial. But if your client is going back to jail, you're not seeing him no more.
Yeah.
Unless you go to the jail and you got shit to do. You got to prepare for the next day. So there's no way. So he probably didn't get to run that by him, right? And I think if he would have, he could have just said, just take that part out.
Yeah.
Just don't offer any explanation.
Right. Take both those.
See what happens. You have Stevens that gets on the stand and tells them what the YSL means. So when you do your opening, you're going to have the prosecution will have witnesses ready to testify to what the word really means, So
right, but this is what I'm saying. Why? Again, I don't like when defense attorneys get in front of the evidence. Don't do that. You don't have anything to prove. Wait for the evidence to come to you. There was no need for him to do any of that.
Yeah,
I don't get that. I don't get that.
Well, Dennis, I've got to run. This has been an amazing discussion. I really hope that we can come back and we will be able to talk about the backlash when we realize these things, that there was no evidence leading to the situation with Fani, because I just think that is not something that we want to start our 2024 off with. So I'm hoping
that started already.
I know, but
bad.
We haven't heard her response yet. We have not seen what she's going to file a response.
Yes.
So there's something to be said about guilt by omission.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like it's the absence of a statement also speaks volumes.
I agree with you 100%. And I was really, really shocked when she chose not to.
Right, she's mouthy. She's mouthy. And mouthy? Come on, you mouthy. Since when you don't have nothing to say?
Not never.
Now all of a sudden,
not never.
New York. You have the New York Times. You have Bloomberg. You have Rolling Stone. You have major sites talking about this.
Right.
Major outlets, rather. Yeah. National outlets. You need to get in front of this. You need to get your filing in. Don't wait the 10 days, because you don't want this to resonate with people. The longer you take to be able to address this, the more people are going to believe it, and then they're going to start doing an exploratory mission and seeing what else is out there.
Yeah,
and then
she needs to do it in the morning. She needs to have something to say in the morning, because at this point, I was looking at my phone as we were on live. It is like it's everywhere. It is in everywhere. So
enough of the pillow talk.
It is salacious. We're talking over $500,000. Yeah. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Tommy, I want to say this, Tommy. Because we haven't been on the live with you in a couple of years, but let's do something. Let's literally do something.
I'd love to come back and be with you guys. This was fun. I want to say this to you, and I wish the young lady was still here while she was here. But I want to say this to all of you guys. What made me gravitate to this was y'all weren't cussing, weren't talking stupid, weren't acting a fool. And y'all were talking about something in white circles. This discussion would have thousands of people watching. But if we want to talk about what it is that we do, that this discussion does not have a large crowd listening to it because we don't want to hear something that is actually affecting us. But if you were talking about P. Diddy and his proclivities, well, everybody would be here. If you were talking about dating and how these niggas ain't ish, well, everybody would be here. And I don't like that because we can't say that people don't take us serious when we don't become a serious people. And I appreciate what you guys are doing. And I want to be a part of serious conversations like this because we shouldn't have to enter the white people zone to have a real conversation like this. So I thank you guys for having it.
Absolutely, Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy. And you're so right. And this is what I've been trying to say for years. You know, when I met you, we were talking about some, you know, very interesting topics that most people would find okay. I'm not gravitating towards that because I don't know. You know, no. It's good. This is a filtering process. This is good.
It is.
Ike,
comments has been good too. I've been trying to keep up with some of the comments and
let's see what the comments.
You guys for joining. Appreciate you guys for joining us tonight.
I don't see them.
On the right side, you might have to click to see comments.
Yeah, we're on StreamYard. We're on StreamYard. So
okay. Because I know when you were putting the link in there, I couldn't see the link. I had to physically type everything that you put on the screen. When you put it on the screen, I had to physically
make your screen smaller because I heard you come in because I heard the pop in, but I didn't see you on the bottom. So, and I have like a 27-inch here. I got a 70 on the wall. But I see you.
You ain't bragging, but you just kind of like, God.
Tommy, if you see my background, you would like, wait a minute.
I'm a man of electronics. I love them myself.
I already know.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. And it's the fact that it's like you guys seem to take this serious. Like the discussion is a serious one. And I love where you were going. Serious. We didn't get a chance to get there. But that idea of it as Black people, when we do get Black people in position, I do believe we have to hold them to a higher standard. We have to be the first ones to say to them, you're not doing right, before somebody else steps up and says, well, this is why we don't hire y'all, because y'all don't even hold your own people. Seriously, we can't be putting people in high positions and then let them run amok and say because they're Black. And we can't be used by them.
Run up the bill. We complaining why the jails are overcrowded. Well, you're running up the bill and don't understand what budgets are really should be used for. You know, you get $31 million and you're spending a high portion of that on just one case, and when you got thousands of cases, someone's not getting out of jail. Someone's not getting out of jail, and some people are just gonna get railroaded.
Right.
You know, you
someone is missing out on some honest services. That's what's happening.
And it's Black people keeping Black people. We complain about the Blacks that are in jail, and then we got other Black people keeping the Black people in jail, and you got white people out on bail, and they got like 2 bodies, and they still on bail to fight their charge. When you said that about how difficult it is to prepare your client for a case when they're behind bars, and they're in a crowded jail, you could tell them how difficult it is just to get your client some time with your client.
Right, just a visit, to get a visit, and that visit is probably not going to be any way we can establish a privileged conversation, if you will, right? Because there are people that are in close proximity.
And I want to say, I haven't seen no reason why this judge could not grant Young Thug a bond. This guy's known all over the world. Where's he going to run?
Where's he going? And again, that's a Black judge.
It's a Black judge.
That's a Black judge. When the affluenza kid was arrested, right? The DWE, you remember that guy? His lawyer argued that he received too much privilege and he couldn't really appreciate
the bird dog young man.
Wrong. And
Murdaugh,
3 people and paralyzed another person.
And was at home partying with his friends and putting it on Instagram.
Right.
Yes.
Preparing for his trial.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And let's be honest, it's scary when we have Black judges. I'm sorry, Judge Glanville, but I'm a Black man first, and I put my pants on every day. When I see the treatment that some of these these defendants are receiving, I mean, it's disgusting. Disgusting. You give the man the benefit of the doubt to make a mistake. If he makes the mistake, now you're saying, well, this is why I didn't give him the bond. But
here's the problem. Here's the problem I'm having with Judge Glanville and the fact that Jeffrey doesn't have a bond. You have the co-defendant who pled guilty to presumably some of the same charges, right? Who was a part of this violent gang. There. I'm going there. He got 10 years. You suspended 8 of those years, and you let him out after he served only 2. So how dangerous is he?
Could he be?
How dangerous could he be? So why can't you afford this young man who hasn't been convicted of anything? You let the guy who has been convicted out, but the guy who has not been convicted is still in. What sense is that? And how does that not undermine the public confidence in the criminal justice system? How does that? It's crazy. It's crazy.
And I think Mr. His name is I don't want to call him Young Thug because they love doing that, just like calling the other brother C Murder.
Jeffrey. That ain't gonna call him Jeffrey. That's right, Jeffrey Williams.
How do you think he feels about all these millions of people who so-called love his music? Yeah. But when it's time to stand up for justice and the same justice system that we all can be ensnared in, we're not saying exactly what you said, Miss Al-Shabazz. Yeah. We should all be saying that, whether you think he's guilty or not. He should be afforded the ability to be able to come home and put together a defense, because we see all these other people get to come home and put together a defense, including my man Donald Trump. He went in there, let him do his fingers. He went home.
That's right. If they really were serious about justice, they would be down, the people that support him, they would be down in front of that courthouse with picket signs saying this judge is unfair.
Free Young Thug. Yeah.
Free Young Thug.
Yeah.
What is the difference between him and the individuals in this election interference case? They all got bonds. They all facing Rico. Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Yep.
It doesn't.
He can afford it. He can afford to pay for the bond. Why, if the judge said, I want $2 million, he'd be a fool to
forfeit that.
Right.
On top of the fact that the jail that he's in is demonstrably dangerous.
Hey,
the co-defendant has already been stabbed, right? So I mean, like,
well, he's in Cobb County. Jeffrey's in
but the penalty for this, if he was convicted, is not death. It's not death.
And you're right.
But you're subjecting him to the potential to be killed, murdered, maimed.
Right.
For what?
He doesn't see, Judge Glanville doesn't see Thug as this successful millionaire who's pulled himself from the bootstraps. He doesn't see him that way. He sees him as something, I don't want to go there.
Then he should recuse himself.
You just said it. She sees him as, she don't see Jeffrey, she see Thug.
He should recuse himself then, because he's not being a neutral magistrate, if that's how he's viewing this. Because in this the fact that this trial was going to stretch out this long was enough to give this kid bail. Right. That fact alone should have been enough. And you know what? There are so many measures in place that you could put to ensure his return to court. You could do the electronic monitoring. You could have him check in. You could do pretrial services where somebody goes to his house and checks on him. You could make it that he pays for all of that stuff, because most of the time people with electronic monitoring, they got to pay for that themselves.
Yeah, right.
Which is another hardship.
It's to give the public, potential jurors, the illusion that he's a dangerous, violent criminal. And that's just what it is. No,
but again, like I said, the problem with that is you've got a witness on the stand who you claim is a dangerous person who is out walking around trying to get his CDL.
Right. Yes. Walking around. Who's a minute and hiking. Before we go, this guy has been flying back and forth to jail all his life.
All his life. Yes.
That's not Young Thug.
Right. Right.
That's not Jeffrey Williams. That's not Jeffrey Williams. So why is he more dangerous than the guy who's been a recidivist? And if he get one more conviction, because he's a recidivist.
Recidivist.
Right. That too.
That too.
That too.
That too.
That too.
All right, y'all.
Both of them. But like you said, and it's funny because it's true. I think this is one of those things like when you were saying that, it was so funny to hear you say it, and then a part of your heart of me drops. Your heart drops because it's true what you're saying. That wasn't a joke. This is real. This situation's real. These two men that we're talking about and their situations is real. And you have this man. And I got to ask you if you see it this way, Ms. Alshabaz. Isn't this, what would be the word when they say you're facing a penalty and you weren't even convicted yet? Because if he's been in jail for 2 years and they find out he's not convicted, they can't give him his 2 years back. That's gone. That's 2 years of his life. We have people who've had malicious prosecute. Is that, would that? No, that's not what it is. But when you're being punished before you've been convicted, that's what's happening.
Right.
And we as Black people should not be okay with that because we've had too many of us that's been punished before anybody ever found us guilty. And they bury people. And you can look at the county jails around Georgia. There are men who've been languishing in these county jails 2-3 years, waiting on trials.
5 years. 5 years.
It's all over the country. Right? The Khalif Browders of the world, right? The Khalif Browders of the world. Years and years in jails. One brother here in Georgia, I think that, I don't know if that's his name, 10 years. 10 years. Has not had a trial.
Has not, in Fulton County, has not had a trial.
10 years. Has not had a trial. It's the most insane case I've ever seen.
Something about it. And I think that Judge Glanville did an interview and talked about that person because, apparently he has kind of mental illness or something, so they can't prosecute him. Well, he's serving 10 years already. Why don't you just put him in there? If he's got a mental illness,
commit him.
Commit him.
And we as Black people, we don't do that enough for each other. White people are quick to say, well, this guy needs mental illness. He needs to go to a mental hospital first.
Absolutely.
We will shun these people and know that these people need some help. We will we will know there's something wrong. We'll call them crazy, push them to the side, and then let the system get them, and they get wrapped up in this system, and the system handles them however they want to. And I am so afraid that we claim that we have this unity, and yet these people who are subjected to these laws, we turn our backs on them. The only time we talk about them is when they're shot dead and there's a video of it and we can put them on a t-shirt.
Yeah, our unity is reactionary.
That's right.
Yeah, our unity is reactionary. We don't have any proactive unity, right? We had that in the 60s, and what you saw in the 60s was proactive unity. We got reactive unity, right? We got to wait till somebody gets shot down in the street, and then we go like, oh, black people, right? And we've got to change that. Maybe in 2024, we could go, get back to being proactive, and we can identify some of the areas where we are lacking, where we can make some fundamental changes. Then maybe we can make some progress. Maybe.
We need to be in front of those DA's offices. We need to let those DAs know.
We need to be in those offices. We need to be in those offices.
That's right. Yeah,
that's right.
Not in front, inside.
Get those jobs. Get those jobs. Go out for those jobs. Get in those positions. Those are decision-making positions.
Yes.
And people ask me, did you, when I was a prosecutor, did you enjoy being a prosecutor more than you enjoy being a criminal defense attorney? Prosecutors have all the power. They have all the discretion to say, I'm not going to prosecute you. I've investigated this case and I don't think it has prosecutorial merit. They get to do that. As a defense attorney, I don't have that power. I don't have that. I could beg and plead and try to convince a prosecutor, but I don't have that power, right? Absolutely. So, I'm always encouraging my students to go to law school, get into law enforcement. Even if you just want to be a probation officer, get in there, get somehow, some way. We need to be in those
position where you can affect change. Get into the position where you can affect change. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, they're watching. I thank you for coming on.
2 hours.
You didn't have to be here. Make sure you hit the like button when you leave. Before you leave, hit the like button. Thank my guest, Tommy Sotomayor, and the incredible attorney, law professor Akeisha L. Shabazz, and myself. We'll see you on our next show. We're going to take you out with a song by my artist, Southside Yoko. We're out of here.
You see too much when you see your mama cry. Every tear that fell caught a homicide. And it ain't too many angels in the place that I'm from. But they'll put a halo on anybody, Lord. Not too many I can say that got me, Lord. Even when I go astray, I'm still your son. Even on the cloudy
See, I came from the bottom where niggas don't make it out it. Why I seen niggas fall like cold leaves in the autumn. When you gotta go to prison before you see a shahada. Seen Route 64 with bows in the Armada. Always been one step away my whole life. Been some long nights, just roll the dice. I'm betting on myself just to reach these heights. It's generational wealth. Success from hands that was dealt. And freedom from mental health. Just another notch on the belt, cause I came from it. I'm talking dirty trap with 100 packs, I was made from it. I'm talking streets that kill you dead, go get a trade or something. Seen a lot of lives lost to this game for nothing. Mama said I'm from the gang, but you ain't claiming nothing. Go to school, go read a book, go play the game or something. But shit, your focus start to change when your stomach touching. I guess it is what it is. We can't go back to them days we was kids, so let me live it.
You see too much when you see your mama cry. Every tear that fell caught a homicide. And it ain't too many angels in the place that I'm from. They'll put a halo on anybody, Lord. Not too many I can say that got me, Lord. Even when I go astray, I'm still your son.
Drowning in this liquor, this one's gone. Blinded by distraction, knowing action is what's gone. Knowing temptation to only lead you to desperation. Knowing that your pride will tell you lies when you can't face it. I'm changing my ways now, cause I can't let my past harm me. My dream board, a Ouija board, I swear this shit talking to me. This year, divine focus, they still seeing 2020. They want me by a rope, but they ain't know that this shit was bungee. 2K a day, that's what I make. I scrape the pot, I bust the safe, I bust the watch, I flood the face. I fuck a good, you call a bae. I beat the stove, I beat the block, I beat the odds, I beat the charges with the bros. I switch my clothes and switch the spots. Niggas playing both sides when it's time to slide. Gotta play your role when it's time to go. Life changed from a homicide when them niggas come. Shit you never know. Lord have mercy on my soul. When I meet my demons, praise with a rifle and a scope.
You see too much when you see your mama cry. Every tear that fell caught a homicide. And it ain't too many angels in the place that I'm from. They'll put a halo on anybody, Lord. Not too many I can say that got me, Lord. Even when I go astray, I'm still your son. Even on a cloudy day, that's time.
But I love you.
I love you too. I always will.
Yep.